Hello, wonderful YouTube family and my fellow followers. It's time for another video. This video has two parts to it. One part sad and another part kind of contradicting that and a little bit happier note. So to give you the happy side, I have to give you the sad side first, unfortunately. The sad side being, I live in Saskatchewan, Canada, for those of you who don't know, and my province just updated all of their pet policies of what we can and what we cannot own as a pet in our province. This was apparently updated on June 1st. It was like a huge secret to most people, and I just found out about this like a couple of days ago now. And so yeah, obviously I have several exotic pets here, so I needed to go onto their website to find out if everything was okay. And I did find out that going forward, we're no longer going to be able to have parrots as pets. Now, most of you that follow me know that I have a scarlet macaw, which is a parrot. And so there are 3 different lists that they put out. The first list is the okay species to own. There's no guidelines for it. The second list is called their District 2 list. That list is a list that you can own the animal if you've owned it prior to June 1st of this year. You can keep it until it passes away, but you can no longer get any new ones of it. And then there's the third list, the District 3 list, which is essentially a no-go. You can't have them at all. So on the District 2 list, the list that we can keep them if we've had them prior to June 1st, are macaws, the scarlet macaw, any kind of macaw, green wing, blue and gold, whatever. So thankfully I can keep my macaw for the rest of his life. I can't get any more, which honestly I wasn't planning on it. One is enough. But I can keep him. I had to register him with the Saskatchewan government, which I've already done, and so I can keep him. Unfortunately, and here's where the bad part comes in, a lot of you know that I was planning on welcoming a new snake into my family, and this snake was going to be a Black Tail Cribo. They are on the restricted list. They are on the new restricted list that we cannot own in Saskatchewan. That means I cannot now get a Black Tail Cribo, which totally sucks. I am so bummed out about it because I've been literally waiting for this baby for the past 2 years, and now I can't get it. So that's the bad news, and it's seriously bad news. This was like one of my dream snakes, and now I can't get it because Saskatchewan had to get all screwy on me and create these new bylaws. So what does that leave me? You know, like, where do I go from here? Do I just say, nope, that I'll just keep what I've got and sell this whole setup? Or do I try and find a different kind of a snake that I want to get? So for the past 2 days now, I've been talking to my breeder that was going to sell me the Black Tail Cribo, and he has many other types of snakes that he also breeds. So I've been talking with him, kind of telling him what my criteria was, and my criteria, it had to meet 2 things. It had to meet the snake general length when they're fully grown. This girl over here is 3.5 feet. I wanted larger than that because for my educational program, I wanted a small, medium, and large snake to be able to take places. So I wanted a snake that was at least going to grow over 5 feet long fully grown as an adult. So that was my one criteria. My second criteria was temperament. I didn't want to get a snake that was going to be bitey or flighty or anything like that. Kids are going to be petting and handling this snake in my educational program, so I didn't want to have to worry about the snake biting anybody or anything like that. That's just, it was like a total no-go for that. Like, it had to be a snake that is known to have good docile nature, like corn snakes. So those are the two criteria that I gave to my breeder, and he sent me back a list of snakes that meet those two criterias. I went through that list and compared it to Saskatchewan's new guidelines to see what I could own and what I couldn't own legally. So I got rid of the ones that I couldn't own legally, which left me with my list that I could. And so I got researching those types of snakes and just seeing, you know, what was all involved in them, what kind of care they needed, how big of an enclosure they needed, all that fun stuff, like how much they ate, like was it feasible for me to own this type of a snake. So in the end, end result, I'm still getting a new snake. I'm still getting a new snake this year. It's going to be a baby that's being hatched out this year. It's just not going to be a Black Tail Cribo because they are now illegal for some unknown reason, which we just cannot understand. Like, me and my breeder are just like totally flabbergasted about this because Saskatchewan banned the Cribo snakes, and yet in the same breath they turned around and allowed us to have many more types of species. Before, in Saskatchewan, the only type of species of snake that we could own was the clubrid snakes, which is what the family class that the corn snakes are in. That was the only thing. So that included like corn snakes, rat snakes, milk snakes, that kind of stuff. Now they've actually added some boa type snakes and some python type snakes that we can own. So it's like you're gonna ban Cribos that are in the clubrid family, but allow us to have some pythons and boas. Okay. It just like, it totally doesn't make sense, but it is what it is, I guess, right? So, end result. Backstory. I have to tell you backstory because I just find this so entertaining. So backstory. When I was first getting into snakes, like just about 7 years ago now, and I was debating on what kind of snake I wanted for my very first snake, there were two snakes that I was very, very interested in. There was the corn snake, which I have, and there was this other snake, which at the time I couldn't own in Saskatchewan because it was not part of the clubrid family. So they were illegal at the time. Now I can own them because with the new bylaws, they're in the list of species that we can own. So I'm getting that snake. So, you know, 6 years ago, I was like, oh, I'd really like one of these snakes, but I can't own it. Fast forward 6 years here, and now I can own them. So why not, right? So the type of snake that I'm going to be getting now is a ball python. Okay, so I guess, you know, when one door closes, another door opens, right? So yeah, I'm getting a ball python baby. This one is going to be a female instead of a male. I was planning on getting a male Cribo, but females in the ball python area grow larger than males. So, you know, I want my big snakes. So, yeah, planning on getting a female. Females tend to have just a slightly better temperament than males, but either way, they're very docile snakes. But yeah, so we're getting a female ball python. So, currently, my breeder, he's a big time ball python breeder. My dog just walking through the screen. He's a big time ball python breeder. He has many breeding pairs, and he has like hundreds of babies in a year. and they're just starting to hatch now. So he does have some females already hatched, and they've had one meal. So he keeps his ball pythons until they've had 5 consecutive meals and they've taken them easily, just so he knows that they're going to eat. Ball pythons are kind of known as babies to be pretty picky eaters. Like sometimes it's hard to get them to start eating. So he likes to keep them until they have 5 meals with him so that he knows they're well established. So they've had 1 meal. We're going here. We're good to go. So he is also going to be, he said either today or tomorrow, that he will be sending me pictures of the female babies that he has right now. And I'm going to choose one. So, I don't know what color morph I'm getting yet. I don't know anything like that. All I know is they are hatched. They've had a meal, and now I have to choose, and then we just have to wait. They feed about once a week as babies. So if everything goes well, and they eat like champs, within the next like 4 weeks here, they should be ready to go home. So I could be getting one sooner than I expected. If everything goes well, if she eats and everything's good, you know, actually it could be in September here sometime. Next month, I could be welcoming a new baby. So, you know, it is what it is, right? I can't get the Cribo that I wanted, but I can now have a ball python. So we're going for that. This setup back here, I'm just gonna kind of update you on what's gonna happen here, because I had updated with the Cribo, but now that's changed. So this setup is still gonna work. This little tank that you see right here is still gonna work for the baby tank. This bigger tank that you see behind me here will still work as the juvenile tank. Full grown, about 2, possibly 3 years from now, I am still going to renovate this table that you see behind me to be the big enclosure. The only difference is with the ball python compared to the Cribo is that it does not have to be 6 feet long. So originally I was going to have to extend this table this way to create 6 feet, and now I don't have to do that. This dimension of the table that's here right now is perfect for a ball python. So actually it's bigger than what the minimum requirement is for a ball python, so give them plenty of room. So yeah, so gonna renovate that still, and I'm gonna take you along for those renovations in the next little while here. Like I said, he doesn't actually have to be in it for another 2 to 3 years, but I'm going to, instead of just doing it all in one shot, I'm gonna like do it little by little. So if you haven't yet, here's my shout out. If you haven't yet, follow me on my Instagram. Link is in the description, to see those renovations. I probably will do a YouTube video of it as well, but my YouTube video will be all one video. I'll wait until I'm completely done and then just post all the clips together and show you the main thing. Whereas on my Instagram, you can follow along step by step. So that's what's gonna happen. So I am going to do like an actual ball python video like I have with these guys later on, when my new little girl is kind of like established and I can start handling her. But for now, I'm just going to kind of give you like a general, for those that don't know, just like a general shout out to ball pythons here. So ball pythons, also called royal pythons, their scientific name is, and I'm probably gonna butcher this, but I think this is how you pronounce it. I hate scientific names, but it's Python regius. I think that's how you pronounce it. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, that's their scientific name. They come from West and Central Africa, just north of the equator. And they live in grasslands, shrublands, and open forested areas. They are listed as the least concerned for like an endangered species. Like, they're just everywhere. So a lot of people, unfortunately and slightly fortunately, I guess, do take them from the wild in Africa and keep them as a captive pet. Why I say fortunate and unfortunate is just because it's unfortunate that they're taking them from their wild habitats, but it is fortunate because they're so densely populated there that, you know, it does help to control the population of them in the wild there. So, you know, it's kind of like a double-sided coin, really. So the maximum length of a captive ball python is normally 4 to 5 feet long. However, there's kind of another backstory to this. With my breeder, originally, many years ago, he actually got he didn't take it out of the wild, but he bought a ball python, a pair of ball pythons that had originally been taken out of the wild. So in the wild, they can grow about 6 to 7 feet long. So his bloodline down the years here still has those genes of the wild ball pythons. So his ball pythons have all grown to anywhere between 6 and 7 feet long. Females are larger than males, which is why I'm getting a female. So he actually showed me a picture of one of his mothers from one of his clutches, and she's just shy of 6 feet long. So hopefully the one that I get, the female that I'm going to get, is going to roughly end up being about 6 feet long. It's a little bit shorter than what the Cribo is going to be. The Cribo is going to be around 7 to 8 feet long, about a foot shorter, a foot, maybe 2 feet shorter. But really, that's not going to make a difference. Like I said, this girl up here is 3.5 feet. She's my longest snake that I have right now. So, you know, double her length, and we're going to pretty much get the ball python. So that's going to be fun. So the name, for those that don't know, ball python, comes from their, how they defend themselves. So normally, like with a corn snake, if it feels threatened, it defends itself by striking. It bites, right? Ball pythons are different. They will still bite. Like, I'm not going to say that they won't bite, but their first form of defense, if they feel threatened, is to curl themselves into a ball with their head tucked in so that they protect their heads, but they're in a ball. And that's where their name ball python comes from. Like I said before, originally they were called the royal python, but because of their behavior, that was then more commonly known as the ball python. Ball pythons are constrictors. They still, just like the corn snakes, when they eat, they will strike at their prey, coil around it to constrict it, and then eat it. Unlike the Cribos are not constrictors. They just like plow through their food and essentially just snap the neck type thing. As morbid as that sounds, sorry for anybody that makes squeamish, but I'm just kind of explaining that ball pythons are constrictors exactly like corn snakes. They come in various color formations. They've been bred over the years. There's literally hundreds of different morphs out there. So like I said, I don't know yet what color my ball python is going to be, what morph it's going to be. He's going to send me some pictures. I'm going to look at them and kind of choose which one I think looks the best. In my mind right now, I have no standards. Like I don't have like, oh, I want it to be a standard ball python, or I want it to be a banana ball python. Oh my goodness. Or I want it to be a lavender ball python. I have nothing like that going through my head. I'm just literally gonna look at the pictures that he sends me and go, ah, I like that one. And that's the one that I'll get. So it's not for any breeding purposes or anything like that. This is strictly going to be a pet. So I don't really care about what kind of genes it has or anything like that, or what it could produce in the future or whatever. Like, I'm never planning on using this snake as a breeding snake. So I'm just gonna go with the cool color, I guess. And we're gonna go from there. I already have, as you know, a black and gray type color, and I have like an orangey yellow type colored snake over here. So, you know, I'm probably gonna veer away from those two colors. I'll probably choose something new and different. But that's pretty much all I've got. We're gonna see what's going on. So that's where I stand. I wanted to update you guys on what was going on. Like I said, I found out about this a couple of days ago, but I didn't want to make a video right then and there, because what happened was when they made these lists, they didn't actually state Black Tail Cribos or Yellow Tail Cribos. I've been through all three of the lists and I have not found that name at all. The only name that I found on these lists is the Eastern Indigo. And yes, that is one type of a Dramacon snake, but it's not all types, right? That's kind of like saying you can't have a corn snake. That's number 2. It's kind of like saying you can't have a corn snake and meaning that you can't have a rat snake as well. Like, it's in the same family of snake, but it's not the same snake. So it's really weird on how they did that. So I was like, well, they listed the Eastern Indigo, but does that mean that they mean all of them or just the Eastern Indigo? Because they don't have any of the other names on any of the lists. So I had called in. There was like a number, that a 1-800 number that you could call, and I called in and talked to the lady on there and was like, can I have it or can I? And so she actually looked at her lists that she had and she couldn't find them either. And so she's like, I don't know. There's either been one of two things. Either they've lumped them all under one or they've forgotten about them. And she's like, if they've forgotten about them, then you can probably still have it because, you know, they were illegal before. So if they've forgotten about them, then they're going to have to uphold that they're legal. And so I was like, okay, well, let's hope for that then. And she's like, well, I'm going to contact my higher ups and try and figure this out. And they're going to call you, get back to you, let you know, all that fun stuff. They still haven't called me. Really, this is like 3 days now. They still haven't called me to let me know anything. However, why I'm saying it, I can't get it, is because my breeder also has another friend that lives here in Saskatchewan as well that has a yellowtail Cribo, again in the same family, and he couldn't keep it because when he called in at the beginning of June, he somehow found out about this list before I did, and he called in at the beginning of June and they said no, they're on the restricted list along with the Eastern Indigos. So, you know, both the Eastern Indigo and the yellowtail Cribo they're saying you can't keep. I'm going to assume that the Black Tail Cribo's on there as well because they're all in the same family. So that's why I'm just going, okay, you know what? We're not going to play with this. If they call me back like in a day here, or like it's Saturday here right now, if they call me back on Monday and say, hey, yeah, you can have the Black Tail Cribo, fine. I'll still go with the Black Tail Cribo. Like, we still got babies going to be hatching here. But if I don't hear anything, or if they call me back and tell me no, I have a backup plan. We're going with ball python. So that's where we're gonna go. And yeah, so originally I was going to call I called my yellow-tail Cribo that I had. That's a whole other story. If you haven't watched that update, I'll link it above. Please watch it. That was a very sad situation. But anyway, I had named my yellow-tail Cribo Drogon. I was kind of planning on sort of naming my Black Tail Cribo Drogon as well, because my yellowtail passed away, and you know, that was the name that I had chosen. But I just couldn't wrap my mind around, like, whenever I thought of the name Drogon, I was associating it with that baby that passed away. And so I was like, this isn't gonna work. So second name that had been in the running for the yellowtail was Falcor. So then I was going to call the new Black Tail Cribo Falcor. And now I'm getting a female. That name's not gonna work. Now I'm getting a female. So back to the drawing board. So it's gonna be poll time again, guys. It's gonna be poll time again. So over the next couple of days here, I'm gonna get 8 female names that I like together. And once I figure out what baby I'm getting, once the breeder sends me the pictures and I choose, I'm gonna post that picture along with a poll. So we're gonna have some polls that are gonna put the names up against each other. Essentially, for those that have done a poll with me before, what I do is I get 8 names, so I put 2 up against each other. So in the end, we have 4 names, and I put those 4 up against each other, so we get down to 2 names, and I put those 2 names up against each other, and the winner is the name of the new snake. So in the next 2-3 days here, as soon as the breeder sends me pictures and I choose, I am going to be starting those polls on my Instagram channel. So follow me on Instagram if you want to vote for the name of this new snake. And we'll see what one wins. All of my links are in the description for everything. I've got my snake adventures, which is my hobby business. I have both my Facebook and my Instagram in the description box below. I have just my general pet Instagram, my first Instagram, down there as well, as long as my Twitter account. So I will be posting the poll on all of those social medias. I will be posting them on all of them, and then taking all of them combined and sorting out the results. So that's how that poll is going to run. So follow me on any of the social media below, and you'll be able to vote on the poll. So look out for that. Hopefully within the next month here, I'm gonna have a little baby joining me. I will post an unboxing video and keep you guys well updated on what is happening with all of that. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.